All right, fantastic. Once again, everybody, thank you to this quarter's market update. Today, we are specifically focusing on Ambergris Caye. For those of you who have been researching the market, you know that Ambergris Caye tends to be the area that most folks are looking at, especially when it comes to investment and lifestyle. This is where we have the biggest population of expats. It's where we have the most number of tourists. About 70% of the tourism revenue is generated from this island alone for the entire country. So a lot of really great things happening here on the island. I tried to do the session quarterly. So today, if you are listening after the session, on July 18th, if you're listening after the session and you hear any opportunities that you would like to hear about more, feel free to let us know, but do make sure that you're referencing the date, July 2023, since we do these quarterly, and I don't want to confuse your interest with info from another session. So my name is Rachel Jensen. I am the broker owner of Luna Realty Belize. I also sit on the board for Belize National Association of Realtors, one of the real estate associations here. New York is where I'm originally from, but I've been living here in Belize for the last 11 years. This is certainly home for me. Ambergris Caye is where I reside full-time, and I love sharing the island here and having people learn more about the opportunities, what's out here, and then also familiarizing you with the lifestyle and all the fun details that go with it. So if you have any questions after this, feel free to reach out to me directly. Happy to get those answered for you about what it's like to make the transition, about what it's like to establish your new life here, or anything in between from there. So with that, we're going to jump in. What we're going to do is a quick overview of Ambergris Caye, also go through island updates, and then I have 10 noteworthy opportunities for you to examine at this point right now. If there's anything that you would like more information about during the session, you'll see info@lunarealtybelize.com. That's the best email address to reach us. I'm anticipating that this will be about 30 minutes. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, this is being recorded. It will be up on YouTube, so you will be able to listen to it after. So Ambergris Caye is where I mentioned we're focusing on today. This is the largest island off of the coast of Belize mainland, about 40 miles from Belize City. Belize City is represented by the star right over here. Two ways to get here to the island. One is by water taxi, which is about an hour and a half from Belize City, and then the other is a 15-minute puddle jumper ride from the city. And there are two airlines here, My Island Air and Tropic Air, that go back and forth between the destinations. So if you want to learn more about Ambergris Caye, you can certainly do so through our Ambergris Caye 101. I'd be happy to share that link with you. That really is just everything you need to know about the island. However, for this session here, it's going to be brief, and I'm going to just highlight a couple of certain things that I think are important for real estate investors and owners to know. First and foremost, the island is about 26 miles long and 1 mile wide at its widest point. The town is really centered around San Pedro town. This is the primary town on the island. However, there's a ton of development that's happening both north and south. If you look at the map on the right-hand side, you'll see the yellow pin there that represents San Pedro town. And then north, you can go about 20 miles north, and south, you can go about 6 miles south. There are certainly opportunities in both directions. However, we're seeing there's more, I would say, focus on north, because as you can see, there's a lot more land and a lot more to develop up there. So when I say north, and you're going to see that in some of the opportunities, that means north of the bridge. And then when I say south, that means south of town. So here on the island, we look at distances, we look at locations based on where they are north of the bridge or south of town. And I just want to put that into perspective for you as we're going through the real estate market here. All right, so some island updates for you. We just had Dia del San Pedro a few weeks ago. Dia del San Pedro is the day of San Pedro or San Peter, which is when obviously the island is named after St. Peter. And so there is a day dedicated around the festivities and celebrations of this day. In addition to that, there was Lobster Fest. This just happened this past weekend, the big block party. However, it was about 2 weeks in total as different restaurants introduced lobster back into the menu and had lots of delicious food for people to taste. And then in addition to that, we've seen a lot of infrastructure improvements happening here on the island, particularly with roads more or less in town getting paved or graded. In addition to that, there was the official inauguration of the bridge going north. So now we have 2 lanes, one going north, one going south, whereas before we just had one bridge and it was used for both directions and got a little congested. So now at least we have one bridge going in each direction, making it a lot easier to go north and to go south. There's a lot that's being done on the island. These are just a couple of updates. And if anyone wants more information, we do send out a newsletter about once a month, once every 2 months with what's going on on San Pedro. And we'd be happy to add you to that mailing list. So quickly, let's look at some stats here. All of these numbers, by the way, are from Belize Tourism Board, and you're able to go to the website. I put the website URL there at the bottom right-hand side of the page, and they update this on a fairly regular basis. I'd say it's delayed about a month or two, but you're able to see numbers on here. And I love looking at numbers, especially for those people who are investors. This is a telltale sign of where it is that you should be looking in the country if your primary goal is investment. So today we're focusing on Ambergris Caye. San Pedro is the town, but obviously the island here is represented as San Pedro. And we can see the total number of visitors coming to the island is about 60,000 people, which as you look across the board there on the bottom, that is the highest total from any of the other popular spots or areas of interest in the entire country. So as we mentioned before, San Pedro does generate about 70% of the tourism revenue for the entire country. So it really is no surprise to see that it's also where most of the visitors are going. You're able to, at any point, go to the tourism board website and see what the numbers are, check on it if you're listening to this after we have this session here. And let's say you're listening to it in November, you can always go to the website and see what the latest numbers are. All right, something else I want to mention is hotel occupancy. Here on the island, we saw about 54% occupancy, which as you look up and down the board there is the highest occupancy out of all of the destinations. Belize City is a close second. However, Belize City tends to be more of a place where people are going if they're spending a night before a flight or for business purposes, so not quite from the tourism sector. I do want to note a couple of things is high season, shoulder season, and low season. So high season here in Belize is typically from US Thanksgiving, the end of November until about Easter. Shoulder season is post-Easter to July, and then low season is August through US Thanksgiving. This is really important to note because you will see dips in tourism and in occupancy numbers during those times as we are going through the seasons. Also, if you're an investor and you want to come and occupy your property or spend time in your property, you probably don't want to come during high season or peak season. Peak season, think about the holidays, because that's when a majority of your rental income is coming in. You can typically expect from low season that you're not going to get a ton of tourism at that point. It is considered low season for a reason, but if you're an investor, that could be a great time for you to come down where it's not as crowded and you're not taking away from any rental revenue that you could be earning. All right, so I have some updates on the current market conditions. I do want to note that when I talk about prices, all of the prices are in US dollars. You do tend to find that real estate is priced in US dollars here. So we just want to keep it consistent. One is that July, we're in that shoulder slow season right now, but it is a very busy time for investors and buyers for good reason and understandably so. People are on summer break at this point. In addition to that, because it's not high season, they're able to get better rates on hotels. And especially for those investors and buyers who want to be able to come down and see the properties that they're interested in, the occupancy tends to be a little bit lower this time of year. So they're actually able to get into the property. Whereas if you're coming during high season or busy season, then if it's rented out, you typically don't get the opportunity to go in while it's rented. So we do see right now, especially here in July, we've had quite a few offers and closings that have been going on. And we're seeing more investors that are coming down during this time. And as a result, more sales are happening a lot quicker. So just because it's slower or shoulder season, do not think that there's not a lot of activity happening at this point in terms of real estate. The average time on the market, I do want to point out that it is still primarily a cash market here. We're not seeing tons of sellers who are doing seller financing, but because it is a cash market, there tends to be a little bit more time that we're seeing properties are on the market for because buyers are coming in with cash or have to come in with cash. With that being said, single family homes typically are on the market for about 6 to 18 months, condos about 3 to 14 months, and then lots 2 to 10 months. Obviously, if your property or the property that you're looking at is priced below market or at a really, really fair value, then we can expect it to go quicker than others. If it's kind of just an average price one, an average condo, average property, then you're looking towards the longer term there. In addition to that, averages for 2-bedroom condos, I see right now a lot of people who are looking for 2-bedroom condos, a lot of people. And understandably so, maybe you're thinking about using it personally in the future, or perhaps you're thinking about serving families in the rental market. This is for finished properties that are on the market as of today, July 18th, 2023. When we did a search to get confirmation, we saw that there were 72 2-bedroom condos on the market right now. And the average price for a 2-bedroom condo is $268. Let me just round that up to 269. Or sorry, 469, not two. 469 is the average price, and that's actually gone up about 31,000 since our update that we did in April of 2023, just a few months ago. So prices are going up. I'm not necessarily surprised about that because we are seeing so much interest in this country. And especially as we do continue to have more airlines coming down. JetBlue is coming down for the very first time from New York on a daily basis starting in the winter. In addition to that, American Airlines is flying from Charlotte daily, which is huge for us, just a couple of times a week. So as we get more people coming here, more people learning about the country, we do expect for prices to go up. So I'm not surprised that prices have even gone up since April. I think that's a pretty big spike, but not really surprising. Average prices for at least 2-bedroom homes on the beachfront, and this is single family homes, is about 1 million. If it's in a development or off beach, you're typically looking at about 400,000. And then home sites, so this is like undeveloped land, typically for an average size parcel, and that's about 1/10 of an acre, looking between 60 to 100,000 US in town, 30 to 75,000 in that secret beach area, not on the beach, but within that secret beach area. If you're looking for beachfront, so maybe at that secret beach area and specifically on the beach or on the Caribbean side, you're typically looking, I'd say between 350 to 400 plus. And then on the lagoon, you're looking at about 250 plus. And again, this depends on a lot of factors. It depends if there's road accessibility, depends on there's utilities, depends on what's around. But again, these are just averages. And we're happy to have a more in-depth conversation with you based on your interest, but good to know averages. Right now, the average build cost has gone up a bit to about $210 US a square foot. I know sometimes people expect that these numbers should be less. Like, well, you're in Latin America, you're in Central America. Why are prices so expensive? You have to remember too that we're in Belize, right? We're in a country that really doesn't produce much of its own. So we have to import a lot of items, a lot of materials from Guatemala or Mexico or the United States. And then from there, once it gets through customs, where you're paying all these fees to get it into the country, then once it gets in here, it has to further be shipped out to the island. So remember, we're on an island, and island construction adds up. And so this is the best I can give you in terms of average build cost for a North American product. So, you know, where you have the AC, where you have hot water, where you're building to hurricane standards, just bear that in mind for that. And I mentioned to you before that it primarily is a cash market. We do see only about 20% of sellers who are offering seller financing. And if they are offering seller financing, typically the terms range from about 3 to 5 years, and they're going to require at least 50% down. That's standard. Of course, every seller is different. You can always, you know, try an offer or make an offer if you see a property. However, just expect to pay 50% down and then have an interest of about 8% over a 3 to 5 year period. Excuse me. All right, I have some advice for investors. If you're somebody who is looking at owning property here from an investment perspective, I want to give you a couple of tips that I've recently been giving my clients who are coming down looking at that. The first one is, well, of course, we're going to nail down your interest. When we nail down your interest, when we look at the properties, I can tell you all about the properties. However, what I always recommend is checking TripAdvisor or Expedia for feedback from the guests about the properties that you're exploring. And I say this because we can go to the property, it may look beautiful, or maybe you think that it could do some upgrades or whatnot, but go to see what the reviews are and the feedback from the people who are staying there, because it gives you that honest response. It's, of course, we can look at P&Ls and whatnot, but it's great to see the response of the properties that you're looking at. And hear me loud and clear here. I know there are a lot of people when they see this, like, oh, we can do better than that. And they're always trying to find opportunity to be like, well, come on, Rachel, we can do better. We can do better. Yes, you may be able to do better, but I will tell you on average, and this is at well-managed properties, investors are making about 4 to 6% net. So that's after their expenses are paid, they're making about 4 to 6% net. I know we would all love for that to be higher. And I do think as we continue to stabilize after COVID, we will see those properties that are well managed and well maintained to be higher. But at this point, expect about 4 to 6% net. And this is really only at specific properties. You can reach out to us if you would like to learn about which properties those are. However, don't come in expecting 8, 10, 12% for properties that are in the rental market. And also, in addition to that, I'm going to take a step back for a moment. In addition to that, you know, if you are able to get a P&L statement, a profit and loss statement, and you're seeing 2022, 2021, 2020, please remember it's over COVID. Here in Belize, they didn't lift all restrictions until like June 2022. So there were still quite a bit of restrictions that needed to be, that were enacted here in Belize, whether it was you needed a COVID vaccine for this, or we still had curfew or whatever it was. And so we really didn't normalize until middle of 2022. And even still then, it took a little bit of time to get back to the numbers that we would be seeing pre-COVID. So I think there's still opportunity, especially in 2023, for us to get back to those numbers, although it may be some more time after this year to rebound and get back to the pre-COVID numbers. And going back to that point there, not all properties will give you a P&L statement. Even if they're already renting, they're in the rental market, they may not be willing or comfortable giving you a P&L statement. A lot of times owners don't want to sell their property based on profits and losses or rental income. They want you to own it because they like it. They don't want to be responsible for anything in the future when it comes to numbers. And they don't want to say, well, I bought this because they said that they had a 6 or an 8% return, right? What we could do, and the best that we can do, is study the market, go to the listing link for that property's rental and see what their average daily rate is, get an idea of what the occupancy is based on what the next 6 months look like for rentals. And then from there, we can work together to put together an estimated P&L, or pro forma rather. In addition to that, if you are going to be taking advantage of seller financing, please do not expect that your monthly income is going to be covering your mortgage. As I mentioned earlier in the last slide, is that the seller financing terms are short. So on average, it's about a 3 to 5 year term, and trying to pay off that balance, that 50% balance, over a 3 to 5 year term means that you have higher monthly payments. And if you're expecting for your income to cover that mortgage, I'd say please don't have that expectation. Expect that income to be paying down your mortgage or paying down your expenses, but it is very likely not going to be covering your all your mortgage or your payments that you have for expenses. In addition to that, my last tip here for investors is if you're land banking, know that your timeline to hold makes a really big difference as to where you buy. And so we have 3 questions that we typically ask people who are looking to land bank. One is, what is your timeline to hold on to this property? The next is, what makes the property that you're looking at unique? There are so many properties here that are so similar. And in order for you to get the best bang for your buck down the line, you really want to be in a place that's a little bit more competitive. And then last but not least, is that property accessible? Are there utilities? If not, will there be? This is a hard one to answer, because if there are no utilities, we really don't know the timeline here. We're in Belize, we're in Central America. Things happen when they happen. I would absolutely never advise an investor to buy based on speculation. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, well, oh well, you know, don't buy on speculation. But understanding right now, as you purchase it, is it accessible and are there utilities? All right, so there's some tips I have for my investor friends out there. And we're going to jump back now into 10 opportunities that I have for you available right now that I think are great options on the market. And again, just to recap, when I go through the opportunities, we're going to be saying how many miles north, how many miles south. And again, north means north of the bridge and south means south of town. So just bear that in mind as we look at our options here. So there are a few new developments. There are 2 that recently opened. One is the Watermark, and that is located right over the bridge. You see what I mean here, about 2.25 miles north of the bridge. So going back here, we see the bridge, and it's actually right in this area over here. So very close to that bridge. It's 71 units in total, ranging from studios to 3 bedrooms. They start at $174. And as I mentioned, this hotel is open and operating at this point. Margaritaville also opened 13 miles north and 71 units as well. 1 to 3 bedrooms. These start at $250. This did open in March. That was their soft opening. And then November 2023 is when they'll have their official opening there. In addition to that, there are some properties that are currently under construction, some new developments. These two are done by the same developer, a very high-end developer here on the island who's been doing development for 29 years here specifically on Ambergris Caye. He is incredible at what he does. And this option here, the first one, Mangrove Bay in Tres Cocos, about three-quarters of a mile north of the bridge. This is 6 duplexes, so a total of 12 villas. 4 remaining at this point, and they start at $550. What's unique about this property, and I don't actually have it highlighted on my top 10, but what I really like about what this property is, we actually have one listing that has a 30-year financing term. So I mentioned to you before that typically it's 3 to 5 years. That one is unique in the sense that there's one villa that they're offering for 30-year term. So again, reach out to us if you see anything that's of interest. We'll be happy to get you more details. The next one there is Clearwater. This is really a luxury property. They start at about $725, go up to about $1.2 million. And these are high-end, 2-bed, 2.5 baths, overlooking the Caribbean. It's what we call it a tower here. I guess it is kind of small for the rest of the world, but it's about 7 stories tall. And there are options on the first and the second floor available at this point. And they're also launching a second phase because first phase has done so well. So if anyone is interested in that, of course, reach out to us. In addition to that, some more developments under construction. Aruna, located half a mile west of San Pedro town. This is a beautiful canal front community, studios up to 3-bedroom, developer financing for 50%. And these start at $180. And then there's also Tess Village. This is a tiny home community, also located over there in Costa del Sol. And we do have 2 available at this point. They start at $180, including the furniture, and they are currently under construction. So Aruna phase 1 is slated to open in November of this year. And then Tess is slated to open in February of next year. All right, a couple more developments for you. Bananas on the Beach. This is a recently refurbished project, previously known as Banana Beach, but there are 34 units in total. This is really designed for somebody who's looking at a hotel suite. Start very affordably at $149. There's no financing at this point, but if you're looking for like a standard hotel room or an investment unit, this could be a great option for you. And then Turtle Island is 1.5 miles southwest. So kind of close to the south of that Tess and Aruna property that we were just looking at. In total, 366 keys. And these start a little over 500,000. All right, so let's jump into the 10 opportunities that we have. As you're listening, if there's any property that you want more information about, email us there on the bottom left-hand side of the screen, info@lunarealtybelize.com, info@lunarealtybelize.com. Make sure in the subject line you reference July 2023 market update, and then you can specify what your interest is based on the number that you see here. So if you're interested in options 1 3 5, you'll put 1 3 5 in the email and we'll be able to correspond that and get you more details. So the first option that we have here is a buy and hold opportunity. I think this is perfect for somebody who's looking for a buy and hold 5 years plus. This property is located about 3 miles north of Secret Beach. Right now, beachfront properties at Secret Beach are starting at $350 plus. Here, you're able to pick up waterfront land for $95,000, and then second row lot, so 16 through 19 for $45,000. We did have some clients who were looking at taking a waterfront and then a second row as well, and maybe they'll build on it at some point down the line, or they'll just hold on to it and sell it in the future. But you do have those sort of options there. But I would say you want to have at least about 5 years to hold on to it if this is a buy and hold method or strategy for you. All right, second one here. So that's option number 1, best waterfront for buy and hold. Option number 2 is a new lot that just got released that has really good financing. Typically, I told you before that you're getting financing on 50% of the property. This owner has decided to finance 75% of the property. So 25% down. So you're looking at putting about $22,000 down. And then it is a shorter term, about 3 years, but you can pay down the seller financing as you get some extra income coming in. But what I really like about this location over here, I personally live in this area up here, but I think that it is a really growing neighborhood, the Spanish Reef Flying Fisherman area. There are a lot of single family homes that are going up. For example, if you can follow my cursor, these 2 white homes, this is second row. So this is second row, and then this is third row. These 2 white homes went up, I'd say, over the last year and a half, and they were recently sold for about $900,000 each. And then this white home and then the white home next to it, those are also recent builds as of the, I'd say last year, year and a half. There are 2 Airbnb properties called Third Coast, one here and one here. These get rented out very well. And then these other 2 beachfront homes are also rentals as well. And then this yellow one, that is a single family home that's lived in. And then the gray structure that we see on the left-hand side, bottom part is a little shop where you can pick up water, sodas, whatnot, or if you need butter or rice or whatnot, you can get those staples from that store. And then the second story is lived in by the owners. So I think it's a great lot. I think it's a great potential for somebody who's thinking about buy and hold. This area is growing like crazy. And this is one of the nicer neighborhoods north. It's actually right before the Secret Beach turnoff. So you can be at Secret Beach in 15 minutes. You can be in town in 20 minutes. So maybe you're somebody who's thinking about personally building in the future, or you're just thinking buy and hold. This is, again, I think a great option for you. But why I wanted to include this one is because there is 75% financing, and that's not something that we typically see. Option number 3 here is what I say a no-brainer for an island home. If you're somebody who isn't really too particular about how much space you have, and you're just looking for a really comfortable place where you can lay your head at night and you're close to town, this could be a really great option for you, something that's affordable. It's a studio, about 350 square feet. You can see there in the pictures, full kitchen, nice bathroom. They start at $89,000, and the seller is willing to do 70% financing. So really affordable, and it's over a 6-year term, which is some of the longer term that we've seen here. But if you're just somebody who's coming and going, or perhaps you want an affordable rental for the island, this would be a great option. It's located about 2.5 miles south of town. So it takes about 10, 11 minutes by golf cart from this location to get into the heart of San Pedro area. But there are 2nd and 3rd floor available at this point. And actually there are 2 on each floor that face the canal and face the sunset side. So if you get in before a majority of everyone else, then you can choose which floor you want to be on. They start at $89,000 for the 2nd floor and then go up to $99,000 for the 3rd floor. But you can also have the canal and sunset views. There is no price difference between the canal side and the non-canal side. So always good to have that option if you are one of the earlier investors. This is option number 3, no-brainer for an island home. One that I think is most unique for under $200,000 is the tiny home studio. I mentioned Tess Village a couple of slides ago, but this is a new property that's opening in October 2024. It's actively under construction right now. There was an early investor who invested and unfortunately is not able to move forward. So he is selling his home that's under construction. It includes the furniture package. And you can see here the unique concept that it is over the water. One of my favorite things is that they have the viewing window so that you're able to come and when you're in the room and look into the floor and you see the marine life underneath. This isn't meant to be like a Bora Bora or Maldives. It is really like, it's in a tidal lake, so it's not that crystal clear blue water necessarily, but you have tons of marine life, and it's just a really beautiful, different setting. But feel free to reach out to us for more information. That's number 4, the most unique option I found under $200,000. Number 5 is a hot option for a 2nd row water view lot. This is in Tarpon Bay, about 4.5 miles south. There is electricity hookup here. There is also road access. This area is another popular area that has a lot of single family homes that are going up. So like I mentioned, for the lot that's going, that's 3rd row, about 4 miles north by the Secret Beach turnoff. This one's about 4.5 miles south in the Tarpon Bay area. And this is going for $135,000. And also that waterfront lot right in front of it is available. I know we've had some people who are looking to do both just to be able to control what's going on around them or getting built around them, but they are also being sold separately. That's number 5, hot option for a 2nd row water view. This is one that I toured over the weekend, this weekend or last weekend, and I think it's a really great value buy under $250,000. We see a lot of people who are coming into the market here with a $250,000 budget. And this is, I think, one of the best options you can find if you want to be Caribbean front. This picture on the left-hand side is taken directly from the veranda, your 1st floor, conveniently able to walk right out to the dock, to the beach, to the pool. It's a 1-bed, 1-bath that was recently refurbished. It's already being rented out through Vacasa, so you don't have to worry about getting all that set up. You can just seamlessly enter the Vacasa rental market. But it's a smaller complex, about 12 units in total, being fully furnished for $240,000. This is option number 6, best waterfront. And this is located about, I'd say, 5 miles north. It is about a 30-minute golf cart ride. But as we've seen with the path of progress, development is happening north. So I see tons of opportunity for appreciation with this specific condo. This is number 6. All right, a few more for you. Great value for a 2-bed, 2-bath. I see a lot of people who are inquiring and wanting those 2-bed, 2-baths, as I mentioned earlier. This is a great value buy, I would say. 3rd floor, under $250,000, 1,500 square feet. I would say there's some renovations or upgrades that you could do to it to make it rent better. If you're looking for it to be a rental, this would do great in the long-term rental market. Mara Laguna, which is just right over the bridge, is a popular spot for expats who are looking for long-term rentals. So I think it could do well from that marketplace, or it can be your personal residence, of course, if that's what you're looking for. So this could be a great value, 2-bed, 2-bath. All right, if you're looking for a 2-bed, 2-bath with a water view, this is actually a 2-bed, 2.5-bath, and there's a garage. And I want to highlight the garage for a moment because having storage space on this island tends to be a rarity. I know there are some developments that are selling garage space. You get a strata title to it, but they're like $30,000, right? So the fact that this one comes with a garage is awesome. 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath, beautiful. You can see more of that modern interior. You have the lagoon views located about 2 miles north of town, close to that luxury Clearwater property I was mentioning earlier. That's like a tower going for $380, just got listed actually like a day or 2 ago. So I think this one's going to go really quite quickly. And so I wanted to get it here into our quick update. And this is a small complex of only 6 units, but 2-bed, 2.5-bath plus garage going for about $380. Number 9, this is what I found to be one of the best single family homes in a gated community. It's located at Mahogany Bay. What I like about this property is that it's already constructed and it already has its Belize Tourism Board license, which means that if you decide to own it, you can take over that licensing as well. And typically, if you're buying a property that is not yet approved by the Belize Tourism Board and you want it for nightly rentals, it'll take about 8 to 10 months to get that BTB license. So if you're buying a single family home and you want to rent it out, you want to put an Airbnb or however it is that you want a vacation to rent it, you have to get your BTB license first. And so expect to have that lag time of about 8 to 10 months where you cannot rent it because you need to get your license first. So this is a big deal. It's about, this property 679 has the private pool, as you can see back there, really modern interior, also has a loft, so it can technically be 3 rooms, but it is a 2.5-bath too. So a very, very pretty property and already ready for rentals if that's important to you. And last but not least, this is something that we've been getting more and more requests for, is people who are looking for small Airbnb opportunities on the beach, but there's also room for them to add what they want to add. This is a really unique listing about 9.5 miles north, but it's 5 units, 6 bedrooms in total. It was just reduced in price to $725, already being rented, but there's extra space, as you can see on the left-hand picture. If you want to add more rental units, if you want to add your own personal home, or whatever it is that you want to do with it, ultimate flexibility, a real steal of a property, especially for being 3/4 of an acre and being there on the Caribbean at that price with existing structures. So I know this one, there is a little bit of flexibility when it comes to owner financing. They didn't spell out exactly what that financing would look like, but something for you to keep in mind. So I'm going to highlight the opportunities here again. Anything that you are interested in, feel free to let us know. info@lunarealtybelize.com. One is best waterfront buy and hold at Fisherman's Cay, which is Brasselet. Number 2, incredible financing for lot. That's at Spanish Reef, 4 miles north. Option number 3 is the no-brainer for an island home located about 2 miles south of town, starting at $89,000. Option number 4 are the over-the-water tiny homes, starting at $180,000. There are 2 here that are for sale. One is $180,000 and the other is $215,000. Both of them include furniture. Next option here is for those land bankers. It's a 2nd row water view lot in Tarpon Bay. Next option here is great opportunity for 1-bed, 1-bath, more of that modern interior, going for $240,000, located about 5 miles north. Option number 6. Option number 7 is a great value for a 2-bed, 2-bath, located right over the bridge, going for $247,500. Option number 8 is a 2-bed, 2.5-bath, brand new listing, going for $379,000. Option number 9 is the best single family home in a gated community, and that's at Mahogany Bay. And then option number 10 is for those of investor-minded folks who are looking to have maybe like a little family compound or looking to have some unique rentals. This could be a great option for you. located about 9.5 miles north. So it's a quick overview of what's on the market. Obviously, there's just more than this top 10, but these are the top ones that I found, especially right now for people who are looking to invest on Ambergris Caye. But of course, reach out to us. We're happy to go through your specific interests with you and see what may best fit your profile. So again, reach out info. You guys have this info at lunarealtybelize.com. But I also want to offer a free e-copy of the Belize Buyer's Guide. As I mentioned to you, I've been here for 11 years on Ambergris Caye. I've bought a handful of properties before, and there are just certain things that I wish I knew prior to purchasing. So I put a lot of that into a guide for you, learned over the years, especially as things in the real estate market have changed, to put together this guide for you. We'll email that over to you if you are interested. Just reference there in the subject line, July 2023 market update, and then just mention the buyer's guide, and we'll email that over to you. So a lot of information, I know, take some time, digest, reach out to our team. We're always happy to hear from folks and to learn about a little bit more what's on your mind. I try to be as honest with everybody as possible about what's going on in the market. You know, if you're telling me you're somebody who's looking for 10% ROI and you'll only invest if it's 10% ROI, I might tell you now is not the right time to own here. Maybe you can factor in appreciation into those numbers, but you know, that's just not the reality. And so I live here. This is my home. I'm going to be seeing you at some point. It's a small island, so we want to make sure you're getting all the information right here at your fingertips so that we can find the right property for you. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We really appreciate it, and I hope to see you here in Belize soon. Thank you.